What's up everybody, it's your boy Jester James here, coming at you with another YouTube video. And in today's video, I'm actually cheating just a smidgen, in essence, to which I will be re-recording a video I had recorded prior, the How to Install SIFT Workstation on Ubuntu 20 video, 20.04. I will be remaking this video simply because ever since I posted that post a couple months ago at the end of January, I've gotten multiple emails back from some folks mentioning how the commands have kind of changed just a little bit. In addition, they're running into some errors, so I figured I'd run through the install once again using all of the live resources. That way you can follow along exactly once again, and everything should be pretty much matched up same to same. The only differences might be an operating system or something along those lines. I am running Windows 11 right now. I did just test it on Windows 10. It doesn't really matter. However, the reason it doesn't matter is because you're using a hypervisor anyway, so it's going to be in VMware Workstation or VirtualBox. I have been using VMware Workstation again, so I support both platforms. VirtualBox is open source free and all that jazz, so big shout out to VirtualBox. However, I will be using VMware Workstation going forwards, simply because that is the platform that I was taught. In addition, I have better success and luck leveraging VMware Workstation than I do using VirtualBox quite frequently. So I do understand that VMware Workstation is a paid tool. However, for the most part, most activities should be able to be completed using VirtualBox as well. If you do have some questions in relation to VirtualBox, feel free to use the contact me page at jamescape.com. Feel free to leave a comment below. Any other way you want to reach out to me, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, all that jazz, right? Feel free to reach out, right? We're a community here. If you have a problem trying to do something, even if it is on VirtualBox, even though I'm using VMware Workstation, right? Hit me up. I'm happy to help out. And very much like this video, right? I had gotten some emails from some folks, so I am going to name a list of some folks who emailed me. So I do want to recognize y'all who reached out. In addition, I do want y'all to potentially take this video and remedy your problems that you were coming into before. I would like to recommend some advice, and sending emails in and better. Screenshots are helpful if possible to insert images and things along those in the contact form, or either by Instagram or Twitter, or DMing me on either of those platforms. Furthermore, I do have a Discord server that I have created and set up. I will be putting a link for that into the description below. That way you can join that platform as well, and we could talk in real time a little bit closer as well, and some opportunities might present themselves for y'all over there as well. So right off the bat, let me get straight into it. Shout out to Samuel Samosa 100, Marcelino, I believe I apologize if I mispronounce any of these. Ankit Sharma, I've got Fozi Abidi, and Darth. And all of these folks, they've emailed me through either my contact form, and some of the errors that they were getting were errors with Cosine, errors with some packages missing, and things along those lines. So to remedy all of those problems all at once, let's just follow along once again. And if you do come into these same problems once again, feel free to reach out and let me know that you had reached out prior, or reach out on the Discord and we'll be able to troubleshoot live a little bit better on that. So let's get straight to it. How to install SIFT Workstation on Ubuntu 20, right? We have done this before, so I do have the blog post, right, like the video, the old one. I will be creating a new blog post, and I'll be updating this as well with the new video and everything along those lines. So right off the bat, right, like we need our prerequisite files. So you're going to need a copy of Ubuntu, you're going to need a copy of the SANS files, and you're going to need a copy of Go. And I've got all three of these tabs open to showcase that. So Ubuntu, right, if you don't have an Ubuntu ISO in order for you to leverage, then download one from the Ubuntu website. It's free. You hit download, hit Ubuntu Desktop. And what you're going to do actually, because we're not going to be using 22.04 because SANS, the SIFT CLI, does not support that version of Ubuntu, we're going to hit here this little purple CR alternative downloads. And if you scroll down, it will take you to past releases and other flavors. So right here, Ubuntu 20.04 LTS is focal fossa. So we already have that downloaded. Furthermore, you're going to need to go to the SIFT GitHub page, which is just GitHub teamdfir and SIFT-CLI. And right here, you can go to releases. You download all of these files. So this file, the file itself, the signature for it, and then the public key for that signature file, and then source code in either zip or tar.gz format. So in total, you'll be downloading 4 files from this site. Well, I had that tab open here. Okay. So I'm just going to create a new workstation in VMware Workstation Pro. The process should be very similar to VirtualBox. I'm just going to type some dummy data here. So again, if you are going to be leveraging this machine quite frequently, I do recommend upping the disk size up to 100 gigabytes. However, it's important for you to allot that based off your own disk size, your own disk space you have available, because you don't want to take up too much space. That way your local operating system or your host machine starts to lag and you'll run into some problems. So make sure you're specifying your disk capacity and you're configuring your virtualization hardware correctly. So I'm going to up mine to 8 gigabytes simply because I do have 32 gigs of RAM. I'll leave them 2 processors at core, so 1 core per processor. So there's 2 processors with 1 core each. I could up that to 4 and a 2 just to make it faster simply because of the processor I'm running. However, again, based off of your own processor, this will vary. I am running an i9 on this machine. The other machine that I was running on was an i7. So depending on how many cores your processing chip has, your selections may vary. However, these options give you a well-functioning SIFT machine that's not necessarily slow or laggy, but on par with the resources I have in addition to the processes going forward. Alright, here we have our focal fossa machine installing. So I'm going to go through this installation, let it go, do the whole clean install, and alright folks, we're back. Alright, once you're in, we're going to open the terminal. Now once again, remember, we are going to need those prerequisite files. So I'm literally just going in. We're going to download all the files I was mentioning prior, right? The two big ones being the SANS files and Go. Coolio. Okay, so all those are down. Next thing we're going to do here, we also want to download Cosine. So actually, before we do that, so now we have these files downloaded, right? Also, after a fresh install, there's always that update. Do you want to install updates now? We'll hit yes. Let it go, run through its stuff. Meanwhile, we can do our commands here to start setting up a workstation. The first thing we have to do, right, we downloaded our prerequisite files. The latest version of Go is now 1.18. Fun fact. And just an FYI, this blog post will be updated. Not this one specifically, but the older one. Or the newer one will be updated, I mean. So this one's going to stay the same, but a new blog post that will be released on tomorrow, May 2nd. So it'll be 5.2, I believe. Or it'll be 5.1. And then it'll be the same. So you'll just the regular website navigation, right? Pardon me as I overthink while I'm also recording. LOL. Okay, we have the prerequisite files. We're gonna set up Go. First, we go to download the downloads folder. So now we got Go installing. There we go. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up the Go environment. That way Go will be able to be leveraged. So now I'm going to create those path variables, right? We mentioned this in the previous video, and it is mentioned in the blog post. Go root is for compiler tools. So this is coming from the Go installation. Go path is for our own projects. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to hit home. Type in home. We're just going to make these directories now. So it's just going to be projects. Project 1, for example. And this is just for future use of Go at the same time, right? So now we're freshly configuring it in a manner of which we're not just using Go for the install. However, we can use it going forward on the same machine as we're going. Because our environment has been set up for dev style work. So path, go path bin, go root. Yeet. Lit. Now we should be able to just type in Go version. There we go. And just like I had mentioned prior, we are writing in Go 1.18 now, not 1.6. And it doesn't make much of a difference for this video. So now what we're going to do, we're actually going to run this command. So this command is new. However, you will be able to copy and paste it off the blog post. And this is different now, right? So before, this command had worked. So we were able to just hit go install and use sig install to install Cosine that way. And then we were able to just go straight to verifying that SIFT file. Here is different simply because of versioning. So I believe that does not work anymore as a result of either 1.18 or there's something else going on where that command is erroring out. So what we're doing now actually, so instead of using sigstore to install Cosine, we're actually going to install Cosine leveraging its binary. So we're downloading the Cosine file itself from that wget page, so we're actually downloading it, right? So now we have that Cosine Linux file itself. However, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to make that file executable, and then we're going to move it in our environment for our shell. So now that we have that file, we can move Cosine, and we're going to put it in a local bin, and we're going to give it some dir there. Sudo that boy. There you go. Now you should be able to just type Cosine version. Sudo that boy again. User local bin Cosine. Oh, right. Forgot one step. LOL. We forgot to make it executable. So, fun fact, the plus sign here, so I was looking at this a little bit earlier for this new video now as well. chmod plus x is actually only adding that executable to those permissions versus a chmod equals something like 755. That is actually changing the existing permissions. So the difference between chmod plus and chmod equals is that the plus sign, it's obvious, right? The plus sign is going to add the permission to the permissions that already exist, versus the equal is actually going to overwrite all the existing permissions. I thought that was just a little quick fun fact. That being said, now we're able to run Cosine version. There you go, version 1.8. Awesome, Cosine is functioning. Now we can easily go straight to the SIFT install, which is going to result in us verifying the files. So I'm going to specify the SIFT public key there. Then I'm going to go to signature. And that's going to let me specify the signature file that we downloaded. And it says verified OK. Awesome. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chmod 755 on that SIFT. So first we actually have to move it, right? So let me move that first, my bad. I'm skipping steps today. So now that will allow us to chmod 755. So now we have read and execute access on that file. And we did run a sudo apt-get update before this, and now it is asking us to restart. So I will restart later, simply because what I'm going to do is, now that we've downloaded SIFT, we've verified it and everything, I'm going to run sudo apt-get update once again. There we go. So apps are updated there, which sounds about right, makes sense, right? So now what I'm going to do is just go straight to the sudo SIFT install. There we go. So command is running. It's running in desktop mode. So we're going to install SIFT desktop on this Ubuntu machine, and the install is running. There it is, right off the bat, command after command. And I did not run into any errors outside of my own error of just skipping a command or two here and there. So for the most part, that you should be able to follow along on Focal Fossa Ubuntu, and it should be straightforward, and you should get the same results as I just did. If not, once again, let me know, and we'll work together to see what's going on. And if worst comes to worst, you can always just download those OVA files, right? So let me pull up that OVA file, right? So I do have the SIFT Workstation OVA here. I'll just call it OVA. And if I import it, it's going to start importing. So this OVA file is literally straight from the SANS developers themselves, the folks who made the SIFT Workstation. And this OVA file is a VM straight up snapshotted and ready to go. So I'm actually downloading it on that fresh Ubuntu install. This OVA is going to be is going to have all of the files pre-installed. So if you're not able to install SIFT using the CLI, the OVA is literally the best option, in my opinion, because you don't have to do anything with the OVA. You just download the file, pop that boy open in VMware or VirtualBox, and your machine is running and functioning. However, I will say VirtualBox does tend to be cranky sometimes, we'll say. I've definitely had times in which I've built VirtualBox machines and they just don't end up working the way they should, or they just errors are weird, or something strange happens between them. Okay, so here's something interesting where I've got my two VMs open, I've got my OBS, I've got a few different things going on the computer. Hopefully things don't get laggy. Okay, cool. So here we are, right? Ubuntu installed, SANS Forensics. Password is Forensics, just like the website says. And yeah, here it is, right? Straight up. I believe this is, yeah, there we go. So there is a SIFT workstation. I'm just going to power that off to give my other machine the resources it needs, as well as the rest. And it's running, right? I'm going to pause, and we'll let it run. Alright, folks, so here we are. We've gotten it. The SANS install has it's completed. The install for the SIFT workstation, you can see, scroll up to see the commands and prompts and output for that. However, our output here says completed successfully, success 664, failure 0, which is awesome, right? So no errors on the install, which means our SIFT is ready to rumble. So what I'm going to do now is reboot, and this reboot is going to do all those things that make the SANS SIFT workstation look the way that it does, right? So I'm going to see a different desktop wallpaper now, and I'm going to see those posters in the back as well as the mounted directories and everything. And we might have already seen the directories and files in the back, but the desktop image is going to change upon reboot as well, and it's going to reflect that of SANS SIFT. There you go. So there you have it. You've got your... So right off the bat right now, I did have one person ask me how to kind of go and actually leverage this workstation off of this setup, and there was... I mentioned this in the last video, however, there is this SIFT cheat sheet that I highly recommend y'all leverage, as it does go into the tools pre-installed on the SIFT workstation that you can leverage to perform your forensics. In addition to the already common tools that we've leveraged in the past that are already pre-installed on this workstation. However, I'll pop this up here. So this is that same cheat sheet. However, now that we have it here on our workstation, we can pop it open here, and it goes over the commands just to verify, and you can run these commands as well to verify that you actually have successfully installed it and you do have these tools installed. So one of the things that we can do is EWF mount, right? That's the first tool up top. There you go. I do have command output there that proves that it is installed. Same thing with volatility. I'll do vol.py, and it starts volatility. There you go. If I run like -H, it'll give me the help. There you go. So there you have it. SANS SIFT Workstation on Ubuntu 20.04. Once again, ready to rock and roll, and you can go and leverage SIFT to perform all your forensic analysis needs, and you can use and leverage this Ubuntu workstation as a foundation for your forensics, and you could keep on adding tools and customizing this virtual machine now to your liking, so you now have a Linux forensics workstation with SIFT SANS pre-installed forensic tools. Thanks for watching. I hope that solved some of your errors in the previous video, and I hope you found this video valuable. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.